What if your fever is not a symptom of weakness, but an ancient biological weapon designed to burn invaders alive inside you? Fever feels like your body is betraying you, your skin burns, your head pounds, your muscles ache so deeply that even lying still feels exhausting. In those moments, it is hard not to see fever as a malfunction, a dangerous glitch in the system that needs to be shut down immediately. Most of us never question that instinct. We get sick, we reach for medicine, and we try to force the temperature back down as quickly as possible. But the deeper I started exploring biology, the more unsettling this became to me. Because what if fever is not a mistake at all? What if that horrible sensation spreading through your body is actually one of the oldest survival weapons ever created by life on Earth? That idea completely changed the way I look at illness. Every organism on this planet lives trapped inside a narrow temperature window, where its cells can function properly. Too cold, and the chemistry of life slows toward death. Too hot, and proteins twist apart, membranes collapse, and entire biological systems begin to fail. Life survives on a razor's edge of heat. And humans are strange creatures in this regard. Our bodies spend enormous amounts of energy every second maintaining an internal temperature around 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. Evolution would never allow such a costly system to exist without a powerful reason. One possible reason is terrifyingly simple. Most fungi cannot survive inside you because you are already too hot. Your body temperature itself may be a defensive barrier protecting you from entire categories of parasites and infections that devastate colder animals across the planet. And fever takes this strategy even further. The moment viruses or bacteria invade your body, your immune system begins transforming your internal world into hostile territory. Fever is not passive, it is defensive climate change, a deliberate attempt to push invading organisms outside the conditions where they can survive. The more I learned about this, the less fever looked like suffering, and the more it looked like biological warfare happening inside us every time we get sick. But understanding that fever is a weapon only makes the next question even stranger. How does your body actually create something powerful enough to turn infection into a living nightmare for invading microbes? The moment bacteria and viruses break through your defenses, a hidden alarm system activates deep inside your immune response. Tiny chemical messengers called pyrogens begin spreading through your bloodstream, like emergency signals escaping a battlefield. When they finally reach your brain, they trigger something that still amazes me every time I think about it. Your body intentionally decides that your normal temperature is no longer high enough. Your internal thermostat is raised on purpose. Suddenly, your own body starts acting as if it is trapped in freezing conditions. Your muscles begin violently contracting to generate heat. You shiver uncontrollably. Blood vessels near your skin tighten, trapping warmth deep inside your core. It is such a bizarre experience when you are inside it, burning hot internally while feeling cold externally at the exact same time. And this process is incredibly expensive. For every degree Celsius your temperature rises, your body burns dramatically more energy just to keep functioning. Evolution would never preserve a response this costly for hundreds of millions of years unless the survival payoff was enormous. Because while you are lying in bed exhausted, something catastrophic is happening to the organisms inside you. Bacteria trying to multiply are suddenly pushed outside their ideal temperature range. Their proteins begin losing stability, their membranes become stressed. DNA repair systems struggle to keep up. Imagine trying to build an army while the environment itself is collapsing around you. Viruses face an even more brutal situation. The cells they hijack become overheated factories running beyond safe limits. Under extreme stress, infected cells begin producing huge amounts of heat shock proteins, emergency repair molecules desperately trying to prevent total collapse. But what fascinates me most is the cruel twist hidden inside this process. Those same distress signals may also expose infected cells to destruction, essentially marking them for execution by your immune system itself. And this is the part that completely changed the way I see fever, because the heat is not just damaging the enemy, it is transforming your immune system into something far more dangerous. What surprised me most when I started reading deeper into this topic is that fever does not strengthen the entire body equally. In fact, during fever, most of your body performs worse. Your thoughts slow down, your muscles weaken, your energy collapses. Even simple movement begins to feel strangely heavy, almost as if your body is forcing you to stop wasting energy on anything that is not survival. But while the rest of you struggles, your immune system enters a completely different state. Neutrophils, the rapid response soldiers of your immune defense, move faster toward infection sites. Macrophages become more aggressive at engulfing bacteria and cellular debris. Dendritic cells improve their ability to coordinate larger immune responses. Natural killer cells become more efficient at identifying compromised cells. The more I learned about this, the less fever looked random to me. It started feeling coordinated, intentional, almost strategic. And then the immune system does something even more ruthless. It begins starving the battlefield. Invading microbes need enormous amounts of resources to survive inside you. Bacteria rely heavily on iron to reproduce. Viruses consume glucose, amino acids, and cellular energy at massive rates while hijacking your cells. So during fever, your body starts locking critical nutrients away. Iron disappears from circulation, resources become harder to access. Infected tissues slowly turn into biological deserts where pathogens are forced to fight not only the immune system, but starvation itself. One detail I cannot stop thinking about is how vulnerable viruses become under heat stress. The rhinovirus, one of the main causes of the common cold, survives best inside the cooler regions of your upper respiratory tract. Even normal body temperature deeper inside your body becomes hostile to it, which means your body is already using temperature as a defensive wall before fever even begins. And once fever raises that wall even higher, infected cells become so stressed that many effectively expose themselves, drawing the attention of killer T cells that move in to destroy them before the infection spreads further. But the deeper question that kept bothering me was this: if fever has existed for hundreds of millions of years, why haven't viruses and bacteria simply evolved a way around it? At first, evolution seems like it should eventually solve this problem for microbes. After all, fever creates intense selection pressure. The pathogens that tolerate heat slightly better survive longer, reproduce more, and pass their traits forward. Over time, you would expect infections to become increasingly resistant to high temperatures. And yet fever still works. That paradox fascinated me because it reveals something most people misunderstand about evolution. Evolution does not create perfect organisms. It creates compromises. A pathogen that adapts to survive inside a feverish body faces a new problem the moment it leaves that host. Healthy humans are colder, so microbes optimized for hotter environments may actually become worse at infecting normal bodies. In other words, fever may trap pathogens inside an evolutionary dilemma. Adapt too little, and the heat destroys you. Adapt too much, and you lose your advantage in the next host. The more I thought about this, the more brilliant fever started to feel, not because it is unstoppable, but because it may force microbes into a trade-off with no ideal solution. And some pathogens seem to know this. Measles, for example, uses what feels almost like a biological ambush strategy. It spreads with terrifying efficiency before the immune system fully escalates its response. Infected people often become highly contagious before fever reaches its peak. By the time the body transforms into a hostile battlefield, the virus may already have escaped into new hosts. That idea honestly unsettled me the first time I understood it. These microscopic organisms are not conscious, but evolution has shaped behaviors that feel disturbingly tactical. Replicate quickly, spread early, escape before the fire rises. The deeper I explored fever, the harder it became to dismiss it as a primitive side effect of infection. It began looking more like a carefully refined survival strategy shaped by ancient wars between hosts and pathogens that have been unfolding for longer than human civilization even existed. And that realization leads to an uncomfortable modern question. If fever is helping us fight, should we always try to shut it down immediately? And honestly, this is where the entire story of fever becomes far more complicated than the simple idea that lower temperature is always better. Modern medicine has given us something extraordinary, the ability to suppress suffering almost instantly. Within minutes, drugs like ibuprofen or acetaminophen can reduce pain, lower fever, and make us feel more normal again. I completely understand why people reach for them. Fever can feel miserable in a deeply physical way. It drains your energy, disrupts sleep, clouds your thinking, and makes even small movements feel exhausting. But the more I explored the biology behind fever, the harder it became for me to see those sensations as meaningless side effects. Your body may actually want you to slow down pain, fatigue, and fever force rest. They push you away from unnecessary movement and conserve energy for the immune system. In a strange way, your body is temporarily reorganizing its priorities around survival. That does not mean fever is always safe. Extremely high temperatures can absolutely become dangerous, especially above 104 degrees Fahrenheit. Certain groups, including elderly individuals, pregnant women, people with neurological injuries, or severely weakened patients, may face serious risks from the additional stress fever places on the body. But for otherwise healthy people with moderate fever, the scientific picture becomes surprisingly nuanced. Some studies suggest that suppressing fever during infections, like influenza or chickenpox, does not necessarily help people recover faster. In critical care medicine, there have even been situations where aggressively lowering fever appeared to worsen outcomes in severely ill patients. Research in this area is still developing, but what fascinates me is how often biology refuses to give simple answers. Because the immune system is not designed to maximize comfort, it is designed to maximize survival. And those are not always the same thing. I think that realization changed something in me. The next time I get sick and feel my body heating up, I no longer see only discomfort. I picture an ancient defense system activating deep inside me, one refined across hundreds of millions of years of evolutionary conflict. You may feel terrible during fever, but somewhere inside you, a war is being fought in your favor. Fever reminds us of something modern life often makes us forget. Discomfort is not always the enemy. Sometimes the body suffers for a reason. Deep inside you exists an ancient survival system shaped by millions of years of evolution, constantly fighting to protect your life in ways most people never notice. The lesson is not to ignore medicine or romanticize illness, but to respect the intelligence of the human body and think more carefully about what symptoms truly mean. The next time life becomes uncomfortable, instead of reacting instantly, pause and ask yourself, could this struggle also be trying to protect, teach, or strengthen you? What do you think is the most misunderstood thing about the human body? Comment your thoughts below so everyone can explore different perspectives together. And if you enjoy discovering the hidden science behind everyday life, subscribe to the channel to support future videos like this one.